Dear friends, I'm Dr. Kekre with about 60 years teaching experience, out of which 30 years in England and other countries. And you must have seen my quite a few of chemistry lectures earlier. But now that I'm starting from today a new series on the request of general students from India, and they want me to be bilingual. That means try to use as much Hindi as possible. That I will try. You see, I can speak Hindi, but when it comes to technical terms, I'll be using technical terms. तो बच्चों में जैसा कि आपको पहले बार मेरा इंट्रोडक्शन हो रहा है हिंदी मीडियम में, तो मैं हिंदी में बोलने की जितना हो सके कोशिश करूँगा, टेक्निकल टर्म्स लेकिन मैं इंग्लिश यूज़ करूँगा। मैं इंग्लैंड से आने के बाद 30 साल यहाँ इंडिया में मैंने पढ़ाया, आईआईटी मेडिकल के लिए बच्चों को सिलेक्ट किया। आज मेरे स्टूडेंट सारी दुनिया में फैले हुए हैं। हिंदुस्तान के आज उज्जैन का 80% डॉक्टर मेरा स्टूडेंट है। अगर कहीं भी जाके आप कहेंगे तो वो बताएंगे कि मैंने उन्हें पढ़ाया है। अब उस अनुभव के आधार पर मैं कह सकता हूँ कि मैंने 7 देशों में पढ़ाया है। हिंदुस्तान में मैंने देखा है कि बच्चा मेरे पास 12वीं पास आए, कोटा से आए, कहीं से भी आए, बेसिक पूरी तरह गायब है। गाना गाना, शॉर्ट ट्रिक, मोबाइल, कॉपी पेन से कुछ लिखना नहीं, बेसिक पूरे गायब है। You will be surprised to know that I get students who are 12th pass or who are droppers from top institutes, different institutes. They come to me at very late, and then when they come, I have to start from 9th, very basics. And that is where I am going to start. Whenever any student comes to me, I ask them, do you know how to write formulas? They look at me as though I am a mad person. They say, formulas? Oh, of course, we know. Then I tell them, chemistry has its own language. You write English sentences. Can you write English sentences without knowing alphabets? A to Z, 26 alphabets. Can you say, I know 20, I do not know 6 alphabets, can I write? Now, with English alphabets, you can, from childhood, can learn 26 alphabets just like by writing 100 times, 120 times, like that. But when it comes to chemistry, there are millions of formulas. There is no way you can cram. You must learn how to write down the formulas. So I will start from that. Now, periodic table. Students cram periodic table. What is the basic property of periodic table? क्या है periodic table की प्रॉपर्टी? एक ग्रुप के एलिमेंट्स की प्रॉपर्टी सेम होती है। और एक ग्रुप क्या होता है? हॉरिजॉन्टल ऐसा, या 118 एलिमेंट के गाने गा रहे हैं ऐसे, कोई फायदा नहीं। आपको एक ग्रुप पता होना चाहिए। सारी पढ़ाई में मैं कम से कम 60-70 लेक्चर लेने वाला हूँ अगले 2-3 महीनों में, और वहां पे पता लगेगा आपको कि ये चीजें जो आपको नॉनसेंस लगती हैं, 1 साल बाद पता लगता कि अरे, अब जैसे फार्मूला है, आप 12th में जब सॉल्यूशन चैप्टर पे जाओगे, अगर आपको फार्मूला नहीं आता तो आप गए। थर्मोडायनामिक्स में आपको फार्मूला नहीं आया, गए। आज तक 30 साल से मेरे पास बच्चे आए और फार्मूला पूछा, एक बच्चे ने भी, मैं फार्मूला में 1-2 नहीं पूछता, 50 फार्मूला लिखो। एक बच्चा ऐसा नहीं आया जिसने कि 50 फार्मूले सही लिखे, 50 के 40 भी सही लिखे। All right, I will now come to the topic and start. Now, writing formulas. When you want to write formulas, first I tell students, tell me, do you know the formulas of the acids? They say, yes, we know. HCl, H2SO4, HNO3, H3PO4, H2CO3, And one acid I'm going to write down is none of you know, H3N. Now, my dear friends, I tell students, this H2CO3 acid is very common. All of you must know. Now, this is where it comes. You know theory, but you do not know that chemistry is our life. What is chemistry? Chemistry is study of matter. And what is matter? The world is made of matter. That means indirectly, chemistry is study of everything around us. Everything. Even we ourselves have millions of reactions inside our body going on at a definite rate. You are going to study a topic called kinetics in 12th. What is the importance of that? There are reactions in our body going on at a particular rate, and if they are disturbed, then you are said you are sick, then you are given a medicine to remove that particular damage, get this reaction either slower or faster to the normal rate, and get the disease removed. Let us come back to the point. Now, you all know from periodic table potassium, rubidium, cesium. Now, let's come to write down a formula. Now, within next 5 minutes, I will tell you how to write down the formula, and no short trick, scientific basic, and you will be able to tell me 100 formulas without any effort or without stressing your mind. Now, for example, hydrogen, if you know the periodic table, of course, position of hydrogen is quite controversial, but you will always find at the top of the first group the hydrogen. Now, when you say all these are of the same group, that means whatever is the formula of hydrogen compound, that is acids. Now you say chloride, you say acidic radical, that means it comes from acid, HCl. So what will be hydrogen chloride is HCl. So what will be lithium chloride? LiCl, NaCl, KCl, RbCl, CSCl. All these. Now, how many formulas you know? Because you know HCl, 1, 2, 3, 4. H2SO4, so Li2SO4, lithium sulfate. Na2SO4, K2SO4, nothing to remember. Rb2SO4, CS2SO4. I would like to tell you one thing very important, that normally up to 12th level or even general chemistry study, if you know first group, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, rubidium is very little you come across in studies. Cesium is nuclear, which comes in different branch of chemistry, which is not important at 12th level. Then when you want to write down the formula of nitrate, LiNO3, and so on. You are clever enough to write down all the formulas. Phosphate, Li3PO4, lithium phosphate, down this thing. Carbonate, Li2CO3, dash, dash, dash. Then this one has been asked many times in IIT and this thing. This is N3 minus, you can see. This is CO3 2 minus, phosphate 3 minus, this thing. N3 minus, this is called azide. So lithium azide is Li3N and so on. I have hardly taught you for 5 minutes, and there are other compounds also. You know H2O, water you drink. What is it? Hydrogen oxide. So H2O. So what is lithium oxide? Li2O, Na2O, and so on. You can add on to hydrogen compounds are very common. If you have done any practicals in any lab, you get horrible smell of H2S if the practicals are done. I am not surprised, and perhaps you will agree, at least in India, you will say you are an Indian and you keep on criticizing India. Whatever it is, I am also an Indian. I am part of the system. 90% of the schools don't do any practicals. Students are also very happy because they leave early. Practicals, I don't want to go into the details, but let us start. Sulfide, again, Li2S. Without straining yourself, you can see how many compounds you know. These ones. So, if you wish, you can note down. I'll give you a minute and then go further. Now we come to, this is the common this thing. So you know what we are going to do is, further down, we are going to write down the formula for beryllium. So when you write down for beryllium, the same formula is for magnesium, the same formula is for calcium, the same formula is strontium, for barium and radium. I hope you have already counted the number of formulas that you could tell without making any efforts. Common sense. That means in periodic table, all that you should know is the vertical one. It is the vertical ones which have same properties. Of course, there also, I'm told, I hear because I am in India for last 30 years, so I know. Here also, I'm told you have songs like Halina ke Rab se par, Be Makke Sarwara, and all these kind of things. But what is the effort? You can also make these kind of songs all by yourself. Now, for this, after the first group, when you come to the second part, here you have known what is known as crisscross method. That means if you have the metal part, say beryllium, valence is X, and then you have acid salt, say you have X, so Y, and its valency is, you can say, my apologies, let me change this thing. You have we want to write down the formula of beryllium with acid radical X. Valency of beryllium is, say, A. Of course, this A is 2, but I'm making it general. This is B. Then crisscross method, the formula becomes beryllium B XA. I'll give you an example. In general, also you can write down M, metal part, X, base part, AB, MB, XA. Now, you will ask me again, how do we know the valency of X? Of course, metal, you know from beryllium is, this group is from second, the valency is 2. What about X? How do we know the valency of X? Again, the same thing. My first part in 15 minutes, what I told you, you have HCl, HNO3. If you refer to my first part, where I gave you the formula, the valency of acid part in number of hydrogens that it has, replaceable hydrogen that it has. So Cl has valency 1, HNO3 has valency 1, H2SO4, sulfate with 2, so it has valency 2, H3PO4. Now, can you tell me what is the valency? Of course, common sense, valency is 3. H3N, as I told you, azide, it has valency 3. So, now what we will do? Now, basic part, I told you, from metal, you know the valencies. So now when we are coming to the acid part, you have this. So let us start beryllium. Now beryllium 2 Cl1 crisscross Be1 Cl2. Now my dear friends, in the last lecture I told you, or last lecture a few minutes back I told you, whatever is the formula of beryllium is also the formula of magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium. So again, now beryllium chloride BeCl2, so MgCl2, CaCl2, SrCl2, BaCl2, RaCl2, H3PO4. Now beryllium, again we will do beryllium. Beryllium valence is 2, phosphate the valence is 3, crisscross Be3 PO4 whole twice. Beryllium phosphate is Ba3PO4 whole twice, and this is the one formula which I asked for years. People go in trouble because they have crammed the formula. So if I ask calcium phosphate, if your concepts are clear, you will say Ca3PO4 whole twice. Because you know the formula of beryllium, you know of magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, radium. So what we are going to do is, I'm going to go up to the aluminum, because transition metals have variable valency. That's a different chapter altogether. Now we have got these formulas. You can try on your own. If you want beryllium azide, beryllium is 2, azide is 3, so you get B3 and beryllium azide. So you go on like that. Now we will go to the next group. If you want, you can note down this one. I'll request you to all that I'm going to continue this lecture series for a long time. I would welcome your comments so that when I go for the next lecture, maybe after 2 days, or then you can, after 2 days, this will come. I'm still going to continue for a little while. We'll do for aluminum, and then we'll finish the lecture about writing formula. Balancing equation will be my next lecture, but balancing equation will be only possible. Now remember, if you study, I don't know whether you ever had a time of studying through British books. The British author books will always start a chapter, say prerequisite. Prerequisite means you don't check this chapter until you have command, you know this. And when the chapter finishes, at the end of the chapter will be post-requisite. Post-requisite means you don't leave this chapter unless you answer all these questions. So now we come to aluminum group. Actually, it is boron, aluminum, gallium, indium, helium. Of course, here also I am told I have learned a lot of songs from my Indian students, Bangan Alu, Gajar in Theli, all kinds of songs. I don't know why one needs these things. Why do you need songs from others? You can make your own song. What is the contribution of a teacher in making a song while teaching chemistry? He is not a poet, he is not a singer. So when this comes, now among these things, you must have come across this particular compound. Normally, indium, thallium, that I will do when I discuss periodic table. But aluminum, now aluminum belongs to third group, so aluminum valency is 3. This is group 3. Actually, as you know, periodic table is S block, and then you have P block, where you have 6, here you have 2, and in between lower down you have D block, and absolute at the lower you have A block. So when I'm making formula, we are talking about only S block and P block. Why? Because this one is best to start because their valencies are fixed. When you go to transition metal, that is D block or A block element, there the valency changes. Then it becomes a bit difficult. Difficult means just at the 9th or 10th stage when you are learning this, it becomes difficult. So I'll come to that part later on, variable valency, that's all, but it is not much of a problem. Now, aluminum 3, again let us start. HCl, I'm quite sure now you have commanded AlCl3. Oxide, Al2O3. If you still are confused, Al is 3, Cl is 1. Refer to what I taught you. Al2O3. Aluminum sulfate. Al valency is 3. What is the valency of sulfate? Which acid is sulfate? H2SO4. H2. So sulfate valency is 2. Formula crisscross method, Al2SO4 whole thrice. My request to you is, if you have followed my lecture, immediately try to write down 100 formulas. Just think about this thing. And another question I would like to ask you, how many of you know that you come across H2CO3, which is known as carbonic acid, every day? Most of you drink every day, younger generation, not me or person older people like me. Every day you drink Pepsi Cola, Coca-Cola, Fanta, Orange, all these things. They are all befooling. Orange has no orange. It has carbonic. Parents like me, even my grandchildren don't listen to me. Tell them not to take carbonic acid. Your teeth will be spoiled because they get carbonic acid. Carbonic acid is not harmful that much, but they contain phosphoric acid to give you that tinge that you get on your tongue. That is why I told you a few minutes back, chemistry is everything. Someday I will talk to you about medicine. Someday I will talk to you about RO water that you use, basic principle. I'll tell you a trick by which, using your chemistry knowledge, you will tell you whether your RO is working or not. Just take water and put on your kitchen flame and you will know whether your RO water is working or not. Anyways, I think when it comes to formula writing, please do practice. And if you get into any trouble with these formulas, please let me know. Then, as far as I think, is more than enough to write down S and P block formulas. When it comes to anions, there is another thing that I would like to tell you, but I think you all know. When you come to P block, you have inert gas. One before is halogen, fluoride. It has valence 1, of course -1. Chloride, bromide, iodide. So on the basis of the same principle, whatever is the formula of any fluoride, the same formula will be of chloride, same formula of bromide. Before that you get oxide, you already know, oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium is a metal, so anyway, whatever is the formula of oxide will be formula of sulfide and selenide. Same formula here. Then you come to, before that you come to the nitrogen group. नहीं पढ़ना ऐसा सब्जेक्ट बायोलॉजी. Beautiful song. Whatever formula is of nitride will be of the formula of phosphide and so on. You can try from there, take the metal form, take the negative form, and you can write down all by yourself. You have to write down once or twice and you will realize the value of this lecture. Please do comment. I will repeat again, do comment if you need any particular help, which I will cover in the next lecture. Thank you.